and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I'm talking all about this new concept, this new philosophy, this new idea of Primal Sutra. Okay? This is going to be the start of a movement. And I want to explain a little bit how this came into its beingness. You see, going through my own process and going through the processes that I've followed thus far, I've understood that there is this primordial, primal, lower basal energy. We could call it whatever we want. Chi, prana, sexual energy, life force, okay? It doesn't matter what we call it. It matters how we experience it. So already I have an understanding of certain philosophy. And again, philosophy means the love of wisdom, philosophia, okay? And, you know, in the Tantra or the Vajrayana tradition, the feminine is given a lot of importance. The yin, the restorative quality. We've got to understand how to tap into our primal masculine selves as well, from a spiritual point of view. That's been left out. There's something in spirituality that quality of that vajra, that indestructible diamond energy, the diamond cutter, the diamond sutra, the truth that cuts through all illusion, that is missing. It's missing in culture. We're lacking a vitality. We're lacking a sense of willpower and a sense of centeredness. And this centeredness is what I want to talk to you guys about today, because that's one of the core principles, I believe, of this Primal Sutra philosophy, which is fear to flow. It's very simple, okay? Fear to flow. What is fear? Fear is the sympathetic nervous system. It is that fight or flight, that danger. What is flow? That parasympathetic release. Okay? So we understand already that we are in this ebb and flow of life. We are in this expansion and contraction, right? And that's the energy I want you to tap into. I want you to get this experiential learning, okay? Because you see, Zen, the whole concept of Zen and how it came about was the Buddha gave a sermon where he simply picked up a flower, and only one student received that transmission, as he also picked up a flower and smiled. And this was one of the foundations of Zen Buddhism, which is this direct transmission, this direct knowingness from master to student. So just go through this process with me. Allow what needs to happen, this transmission to happen. First of all, feel the edges and the outlines of your body. Notice that you are this undulating wavelength, this sense of a vibrational frequency set point. You have a vibrational frequency set point, and we're going to find your core. And when I say your core, it could be the lower dantian in a lot of martial arts, but also it could be all the way up to the solar plexus area, okay? And the thymus area, or the higher heart area in a sense. So actually, let's start with the thymus thump to get ourselves tapped in and into the zone. So let's go. You guys know what this is for the Wolf of Wall Street. You might remember this, but let's get started. So, hand into a fist, okay? Like you're ready to punch. Good. And right here on the thymus area. Let's go. And make the noises too. Mm-hmm. 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 Hey! Hey! Good. Now you're engaged. Earlier you're like, oh, I'm attending this live stream. Oh, it's so chirpy. And now you're here. Now you're centered. Try this with me. Imagine there's energy between your fingertips. And I want you to gently, as you inhale, make it grow wider. As you exhale, back into this position. Okay? And as we go like this, we go, ah. And as we come back, we go, ooh. Okay? Ah and ooh. Ah and ooh. Okay? Now the visualization as you're doing this is from your lower dantian, or let's say a little bit below your belly button region. I want you to imagine fire, primal stoic fire, burning all the way up to your heart. As you go, ah, that's the, ah is the sound of manifestation, you see? Ah is a release, ah. When do we ah? When we release, when we relax, when we orgasm, when we let go, when we when we get to that point where we don't fight it anymore, we don't resist it anymore. We're not creating more tension, we're not creating more resistance and force, but we're going, But this has an edge to it. It's not a of relaxation. It's a of fire. So, okay? And you imagine the fire burning through your beingness from the bottom of your belly all the way up to the top of your head, opening you up and just burning you as you go like this. And as you exhale, you go, ooh. Now the ooh, I want you to imagine it's like a waterfall. So as you've opened this up, the fire has burned you. Okay, the fire of transformation, as Muji would say. Burn through you. Now the waterfall is gently restoring you. So this is a play on the fear into flow mentality. I'm getting you to embody this. So let's try it. So the visualization again is fire, ooh, waterfall. Volcano erupting, ooh, waterfall. Volcano, waterfall, volcano, waterfall, volcano, waterfall. Okay, let's try it together. So here we go. Deep breath in and okay, so that's the practice. You're maintaining that charge, okay? You're allowing it to build up, basically, okay? So the and then the ooh, okay? The tension and the relaxation, the fire and the water, the yang and the yin, the integration between both, okay? This is what we're looking for in terms of that Primal Sutra essence, because too much of one, or a disharmonious system, leads to issues, leads to problems, leads to stress, leads to panic, leads to fear. And this is the whole mentality of going from fear into flow. I'm very inspired by Robert Nadeau. He is one of the 8 students, I believe, of O Sensei. I've been, guided towards his work from one of my mentors, AZD. So very, very interesting stuff. And as I watch him, as I study this man and his principles and ideas, I start to understand different tenets and different ways in which Aikido actually helps to understand this process of momentum. Okay? So his idea is, it's not fear. It's just action, in a sense. okay? It is just a call to action. The resistance is the reason for you to do it. The fear is the task. Okay, the fear is your next task, as Carl Jung would say. It's a very common quote by him. So you don't resist the fear. You use the fear against the opponent, which is an internal opponent, the internal thought that created that discrepancy or that glitch in the first place, right? It was a thought that latched onto an emotion that made you take some action, which gave you another thought. And that's the process of cognitive behavior therapy, right? Like that loop. But we're stuck in our loops at times, right? We are just stuck in a pattern, in just a loop. And we can't make sense of it because we're not aware of it. But once you start doing inner work, you start becoming aware of the unconsciousness within you, the tendencies that you have. Like when you're in a social environment, maybe you have a tendency to pull out your phone because it feels awkward to not speak to anyone. Just notice that tendency to just go, oh, damn it, where's my phone? Just that. When you catch that, now then you can switch it. Awareness precedes control. But the mentality here is fear is not to be avoided. And, I'm not here to run away from fear. This is I'm me playing at my edge now, right? Now I've got the horse blinders on. Finally. Like the focus is back, right? It's this urgency of survival that guides us. And that's one of the tenets of Primal Sutra as well, is survival. We want you to survive at the best of your ability, using spirituality as the juice, okay? So that's that understanding, okay? So when you notice, let's say in martial arts, you have an opponent coming at you. If you put so much pressure on yourself, you will notice that you create a separateness of they are over there and I am over here. I am in my own egoic expression and they are outside of me. The self and other are different. But when you're in flow state, the self and other merge. So he becomes a mirror to you, your internal state. So if you feel tense out here, you'll notice his face tense up. And then it becomes tensile. Okay, tensile means easily bendable or malleable, right? Like a tensile metal can be tensile, like certain metal that bends. So you use the tension and you make it tensile. So what I would say is instead of trying to control the situation, which if you're familiar with Stoicism, you understand there's a certain level of things you can control and things you can't, right? You trying to control your opponent, is not ue, it's not flow. It's adding more tension to the situation, actually, more resistance, more separation. What if you and your opponent were one? Then you can use his fear, which is actually your fear, to use that energy to flip him, destabilize, disarm, transmute. These are all just words that just mean we're alchemists here, right? We're the pleasure alchemists, which means we can take any emotion and transmute it into pure bliss, ecstasy, pleasure, oneness, acceptance, truth, flow state, love, gratitude, higher vibrations, okay? We can take lower vibrations and make it into higher vibrations, okay? Because the word sin just means you missed your mark. You're missing your mark. Your target was here all along. So you crave, through extraneous ways, you're trying to crave the target, which is that connection to you, that sense of harmony with the world around you, you see? That Tao, that flow. You're looking for that. You're looking for flow, but you're trying to not get to the source of it. Primal Sutra gets you into the source of it. You're trying to use substances to cope. You're trying to use like different things, like different habits that you have to cope. But understand, it's not the time, like I learned this the hard way because I You know, I use myself like almost like a guinea pig at times, okay? And that's fair because I am a mystical scientist at the end of the day, okay? Like, I understand this there's something to this energy, right? And I started to realize it is not the moment that I have the snack at home that matters. It's the moment when I'm ordering the snack. It's that moment where I'm like, I have this urge. This urge needs to be used. That urge to eat needs to be used, not only in eating, but it's just an urge. And an urge creates an urgency. Don't let your urgency become an emergency. Oh, play that again. Ooh, let's rewind that again. Don't let your urgency become your emergency, okay? I'm just downloading information right now. I don't this has now just become this rant, okay? So understand fear to flow, right? We're trying to control someone outside of us. We're trying to control the situation outside of us. All our lives we've been told to like focus on their certification, right? The thing outside of us, the house outside of us, the you know, the white picket fence, whatever it is for you, right? There's some ideal that's been projected and infiltrated your system that's not serving you, perhaps. So perhaps you have a different pathway, different guidance system that you want. Why are you not getting it? It's the subconscious mind. This is another principle of Primal Sutra because we're going to set up a website where you have access to different subliminals, different guided meditations, all working with the subconscious mind, different hypnosis, okay? If you'd like to contribute to this project, shoot me a message. Also, if you would like to be hired for this, like if you want to help us with social media or whatever you do, your thing, right? Then reach out to us as well. You can, we'll create an email for this, or one of my team members can create an email for us, and then we can get started, okay? So, in any sense, man, this concept, right, is so powerful because all our lives we're running away from our animal selves. We are mammals at the end of the day, right? We are mammals, we are predators. Again, that people have a negative connotation of that word predator because of the Me Too movement and all this kind of stuff around, you know, sexual harassment and things like this. And it's weird that you can't even say the word sexual or sex anymore. Like that, I find that really bizarre on Instagram, how you have to say S-E-G-G-S, like segs, like a bunch of eggs with an S in front of it. Like, okay, I understand that you don't want to trigger people or like, you know, obviously don't spread that information to children or something, but it's just weird, dude. It's weird how people are trying to like play this system or this algorithm anyway. And we kind of cut ourselves off from that life force, that sexuality anyway, right? We've sort of just been like, yeah, whatever it is, kind of this thing. Yeah, sometimes I get turned on, I guess. You know, it's just this thing I've accepted, right? Oh, my desires, yeah, you know, they're just fantasies. We've just kind of, as a culture, we've come to that space of like shame. Shame over our own body, shame over our own minds, you know, that keeps us in this lower vibration. The society just permeates this, like just, you know, society is like just getting us hooked on this stuff, right? And it's validation and it's acceptance. It's keeping you in that egoic mechanism, right? But Primal Sutra, man, it's coming back to your core. That's it. What are the foundations? Let's simplify this shit, right? What are your foundations? What are your essentials? Okay, when you go out for a camping trip, you bring essentials with you. When you're going out on your spirituality quest, you need essentials with you. Same concept, okay? You're the driver of this vehicle. And again, you can hear these as words and understand them, or you can get this direct experience of what I'm telling you, right? Some of you are downloading this through Gyan Mudra. And those are the people who are going, whoa, I get it. There's this vibe. Sorry, I'm getting calls all the time, man. I thought I turned on the do not disturb mode on my phone, but I'm still apparently getting calls. So that clearly there's something off about that because I did research before and I was like, I don't want calls, you know, on this live stream. But anyway, in any case, it's my work calling me. Clearly, I am needed as a superhero. Okay, so in any sense, you know, the application of, you know, do it, defer it, or delegate it, right? Like, or just drop it, right? That rule of that, and understanding like where are you putting your energy into, okay? Right? That's taking my energy now. You see what I'm saying? This person calling me is craving my attention, this time, my worth, my value. You see? But I'm in my own flow. I'm in my own flow state. I'm in my own wavelength right now. See, if I suddenly drop everything and I go with that immediately, well, no, I'm giving up on my values in that sense. You see what I'm saying? You got to hold your own. If you have a tendency that whenever people call your name, you look around really fast, you need to slow that down, brother, sister. Okay? You need to slow that down because you're not anybody's slave. You are not that person who easily people pleases. You're not meant to be that. You're not meant to be the jerk either, right? You're meant to be a combination of your truest, most authentic, most primal, deepest level self. The signature blueprint that you were meant to be, like what you were here in this earth to do, like in this incarnation, right? And you know this consciously. That's the thing. It's like I'm just sharing back to you what you do know. But now you're able to like see it from a different level, a meta level cognition, right? So let's just say this, right? I keep coming back to this idea of fear to flow because that really is the topic here. So if you're trying to see fear as a way to like run away from things and avoid things, you have to reassociate how you see fear. Fear is now a call to action, okay? Fear is like, oh, I need to do something with this energy, so the anxiety medication I'd write on the prescription, take some action. Okay? That is kind of the core understanding or idea. I understand it doesn't work for very generalized anxiety. You need to do a lot of things to clear energy and all this kind of stuff. I'm aware of that. But if I were to give you that mild little feeling of anxiety that you get, like that little piece of resistance holding you back from something, you gotta close the gap, right? You gotta close the gap between the time you think about turning the water to cold, right? You gotta make that faster. You can't just like keep that, implementation velocity slow. You can't keep that speed super slow because then you're gonna get more in your head about it and overthink. This is why, in the dating world or the pickup world, whatever you want to call it, that world, they talk about the 3-second rule, 5-second rule, right? We have all these rules, but the 3-second rule is like, oh, when you meet someone, just talk to them in 3 seconds. Don't wait like an hour to talk to them, being in your head about it, like walking around the venue, oh, I should have said this, feeling bad about it, going around. Like, no, we got to cut that distance, and the hesitation is like my mentor, he says, like a samurai sword, right? So you got to slice with that energy. If you're unsure of the samurai sword, you're going to hurt yourself and injure yourself with that sword. You see what I'm saying? So to prevent injury, to understand that you need to integrate this flow state energy and you need to have it embodied. Okay, you need to have this feeling of rise and drop. So try this with me right now. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Through your nose. Good, right? So you feel the energy of rising and dropping, rising and dropping. That's life, right? That's the wave, that's the sine wave of life. What we just did there was a metaphor, but it was a somatic metaphor. I got you to feel it. I got you to experience it. Because I want these teachings to be integrated, not only in the mind and the concepts and the logic of, oh, I understand this thing about flow now. Right? So in chapter 12, and place number 4, the sentence 12, I saw that, Csikszentmihalyi, back in the day, in 1945, he said this. Dude, that's not going to get you into flow, right? Yes, okay, yes, he made that datum. He made that point. So what? Okay? This is what we're going to have to start to get over these little hurdles, right? Because we get so caught up in the information, in the logic, that we miss out on the inspiration and the fulfillment and the flow and the movement and the momentum. So it's now time to embrace that momentum back in and get rid of these blocks. The main thing is our energy body is open. It's open. It is us. You see? I am it. I am that. I'm not separate from it. But it's these blockages in our physical body, mental body, emotional body, energetic body, spiritual body. They're these blocks. They're just these filters. They're these shades, right? Just coming in, distorting the perception, distorting the five senses. So we've got to take power over our sense mechanism. So if you're feeling sensitive, you need to do something with that energy. Okay? That fire water exercise that I did in the beginning of this live stream, okay? So if you're just tuning in now, rewatch it, that part. But understand that rise and drop is that energy that you want to be. Because sometimes you'll get this rise, this feeling, like let's say that someone is feeling really, really like nervous around you, right? You ever feel that? Like a person's just like, they're really in their head, they're clenching their muscles, they're very strict within their own body, and they're just holding themselves back, right? They're stifling themselves more and more and getting in their own head. You're going to feel that if you're sensitive to your sense perception, right? You're going to feel that coming at you. And then you start feeling nervous. But that is not yours. That is not your nervousness to claim, okay? That's theirs. So that's the thing. When we do this inner work, we distinguish between what is my emotions and what is somebody else's emotions. That's another thing. We've got to get clear on that these are my emotions and those are your emotions. We're not experiencing them the same way. We might be experiencing them, physically in the same way, but we have a certain storyline that connects with that emotion very differently than another person. Okay? So this tech, if you even want to call it that, is this understanding that you at your most core nature, your most natural state of beingness, will produce and emanate great things in your life. But the more additives, preservatives that you add to your personality to try to make it cooler, or I'm sorry, I look better in this light, and I don't know, I just we start getting so zoomed in on the superficial stuff that we miss out on that bigger teaching, that bigger lesson. Okay? So the concept is very simple. Come back out of the mind into the body and integrate both. Mind and heart synergy. Okay? Be centered again. That's it. It's time to be centered again. You were centered at a certain point in your life. You felt that feeling of feeling centered. What is that feeling like? You feel stable. You feel grounded. You feel here and present. Okay? You're not in your head trying to concoct different stories and scenarios. You're actually living your visualizations. Okay? And the way we do that, we have anchors in Primal Sutra. We have different anchors that get us back into the now. Like I clap my hand like that, that's one of my anchors before I start a video. Okay? So as I keep doing this, I'm going to raise my energy up because it's a trigger for that to go in more. Now, I want you to try something, okay? Close your eyes and imagine getting into a fear state, like just something you're afraid of. Just tune into that. Notice what your body's doing right now. You might feel your throat constrict, your heart palpitating faster. Just notice what's going on here. Where are you feeling the tension? Where are you feeling the fear in your body, right? In the neck? Is it your higher heart? You feel in the back of your spine area? Do you feel it on your shoulders? Where do you feel that tension, that fear, right? And now I want you to try and make friends with this feeling right now. How do you do that? I don't know. That's your creativity right now. How do you make friends with this fear? Imagine absorbing this fear and calming it, almost being the center of the storm. The chaos of the fear is happening, but you center yourself. Come back to a center. Come back to a center focus point, a dharana, a sense of one-pointedness within your body. It could be your heart, it could be your lower belly, somewhere. It could be your solar plexus, it could be your thymus, it could be your throat. But come back to a center point. Good. And now watch through that center point at the fear. And notice what it's doing. You are now at the observer at the center point, observing the fear. You are not it. But you are it at the same time. You see? Breathe into it. Exhale. Breathe in life force energy, kundalini, prana. Keep getting calls from people. I must be needed. That's all I can say, okay? This was a fun exercise, and I need to speak about this topic more and more. I'm realizing it's a very, very powerful theory and an idea, a concept. A lot of us, we shame our animal selves or our primal selves, and we just constantly push it away, pummel it down, repress it, suppress it, snip, edit it, curate it, highlight it, but we don't come back to that core. So Primal Sutra is a way for you to connect back to your core so you can use it on your lifeline, on your journey, on your path, on your Tao, on your Dharma, okay? Now, it's about maintenance. I want to teach you guys to be fishermen. I want to teach you how to fish. I don't want to just tell you to fish. So, if you want to train in this process as well of Primal Sutra, there is some training, some core trainings that come with this idea, and there's going to be a lot of movement-based practices as well as just centering, grounded practices to get you back to experience that state, that flow state from that fear, that intensity, that edge, that aggression, that and then okay, that. Then it's back to a baseline. That sine wave goes back to the way it's supposed to do things. And the pendulum of your own rhythm swings back into its natural order. We're creating natural order through this system. And I hope that you understand that and resonate with this today. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's get it today. Upward spiral gang. May we never be the same again. Oh.